clamp down on the local radicals. The troops' presence doesn't sit well with the locals and leads to street fights. One clash between soldiers and a mob in March of 1770 will lead to 5 deaths. Radicals will call it the Boston Massacre, while the British will call it the incident on King Street. It's the play on the language back then was just like today. It's all in how you want to phrase that. But the tensions were rising, and this is one reason right here that they said peaceably assemble. You have the right to have grievances against the government, and you have the right, free press would have explained it exactly as it had happened, and that was the Boston Massacre or the incident on King Street. Are you there, Don?
The defender of those British soldiers,
yes,
was John Adams.
Yes, which
is and that speaks so loudly for what freedom is and for what he preached later.
Absolutely.
When we get into this First Amendment, this First Amendment is so critical, and what it is, the First Amendment truly comes in and it delineates between what is a free nation, what is a free society, and what is a totalitarian nation, what is a totalitarian society. Because as messy as free speech is, and free speech is there to protect those who would be nonconformists and speak out against the status quo. It's to protect those who would come and say, no, government, what you're doing now is wrong. A totalitarian state, a state like we were suffering before the revolution, always has to control speech, press, assembly, petition. And this is what our founders said. We're going to be a free nation, and it's going to be messy.
Oh, yeah.
And they knew it was going to be messy because it was messy then. But it has to be messy in order for freedom and independence to prevail.
Right. Well, I thought it was interesting how it was worded. And yes, John Adams did make the decision to defend the soldiers. And he took a lot of criticism and had a lot of anger from people for that. But then he was definitely, it wasn't about, it was about the freedom is what it was about. And he did do that. That's a topic for a whole nother show. But
yes.
Let's go on to the Second Amendment, which is under so much scrutiny day in and day out in this nation. Of course, there's only one reason that your government would want to disarm the citizens. Everybody knows that. And they are doing it. I think when I visited with you on the phone, I know I shared it with my listeners a few days back about it was on Steve Hilton's show. And they were discussing progressives and how they don't stop. And they'll start with one thing and then it goes to the next. And like with no smoking in the restaurant. Well, now we have a smoking area in the restaurant. Okay, that's not enough. We want you to smoke outside. Okay, that's too close to the door. We need you to smoke farther away. Then smoking in your apartment. You could smoke in your own apartment, but then the smoke, it rises and it gets to the apartment above you, and we have children up there and they don't need that secondhand smoke, so we're going to ban you from smoking there. And then it's to the park, and of course you can't smoke in the park because there's children running around there and all the, you're dirty in the air and da-da-da-da-da. And it goes on until you just ban it. Mm-hmm. And I thought of exactly what's going on with our Second Amendment. So let me read that. The right to bear arms. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And I'm going to turn it over to you.
That's pretty direct, isn't it? So
Absolutely. I don't see any question of it. But, boy, Kamala Harris and some of the rest of Swalwell, he's got a nuclear weapon, so he doesn't, doesn't count that you've got a gun.
This amendment to me, the Second Amendment to me is misunderstood as is freedom of religion.
Oh yeah.
We have people arguing the Second Amendment, saying, "Well, I have to protect myself from an invader. I have to be able to go out and hunt. I have to be able to go out and do some target practice, and I have the right to do that." But that's not what the founders were doing here.
They never questioned squirrel hunting.
No, they didn't. They said, the people, you must bear arms against the possibility, the inevitability of the government trying to become a tyrannical government. That was their biggest fear, because they've lived under it. They said, no, we don't ever want the government to become a tyranny over us again. And if we don't have the means to protect us, they're going to. And this has been proven time after time after time after time.
We can see in Venezuela.
Go down through history, and they always do it. But let me just finish this real quickly. People say, well, in today's world, that's never going to happen. We can't have the bazookas. We can't have the type of weapons that the federal government has. Well, let's go back a few 2-3 years to when Harry Reid wanted the property that the Bundy family had, yes. And he sent the Bureau of Land Management after them. If Bundy's hadn't had weapons, that they would have lost all of their rights. And so it still does apply today, because we see the government coming after we, the citizens, to restrict our rights and our freedoms. And that's the purpose of this Second Amendment, to protect us from the tyranny of government, not to make sure that we can go out and shoot squirrels, like you said.
No, it's not about shooting squirrels. And the fact that Swalwell would even say what he said is proof right there that you need your weapons.
Yes. And it's also proof that he has no idea. He has no idea about what he's talking about, or why this amendment was even put into the Bill of Rights.
Do they have no idea, or do they know for sure? Because there's only one reason to want to disarm citizens. And I was looking for here real quick. I keep it in here, and I've lost my little. I think here it is. Thank you, Rudy. Beware of the useful idiots. Now, I know you know what this is. This is that Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. And
yes.
And what I find interesting in it is not just the steps that they want to use to control the people, but under gun control. That's why I said, do they not know, or do they know? Because under number 4, which is gun control, it says remove the ability to defend themselves from the government. That way, you're able to create a police state. So if the people have no guns, they have no way of arming themselves, like those in Venezuela right now. All they can do is throw rocks and sticks, and maybe they've made a few torches, but they have no guns unless they steal them from somewhere. They don't have them. And the first thing during our Revolutionary War that the king did was try to destroy the ammo where they kept the ammo storages. And so that's my question is, do they not know, or do they know? Because that's why they want to take them away. They know what they're doing against the American people. Now, somebody like Swalwell, sometimes I think he's clueless.
No, Swalwell has no idea.
He was just he was just what do they call it? The teacher's pet that went out and smacked the erasers together and cleaned them for her. But
yes.
So I think they do know, at least the majority of them. I think they know exactly why they want to take your guns away. And they're just pretending that they don't know. Or they're just trying to convince you that it's all about, well, you don't need that. We're here to take care of you. Well, that's the biggest fear in our lives is I'm the government and I'm here to take care of you or protect you. We're headed into another break. We're going to have to boogie it on here, Don. We're not getting very far very fast. You're listening to CSC Talk Radio. I'm visiting with Don Jans, and we're going through the Bill of Rights. Rights, not entitlements. Rights given by God. And we will be right back.